It has been months since my last date, maybe even a year. I wasn't counting, but the creeping loneliness in the back of my mind certainly was. I had almost given up on dating apps entirely. Too many empty conversations, too many guys who seemed perfect until they weren't. But then, there was Nick. Nick wasn't like the others. His messages were thoughtful, funny. He actually asked about my interests instead of just commenting on my photos. He seemed genuinely interested in getting to know me, which was a rare find. He suggested we meet at a small bistro downtown, a quiet place where we could actually talk. That alone was refreshing. Most guys wanted something loud and trendy, somewhere they could half listen while checking their phones. Nick was different, or at least, that's what I thought. I arrived at the bistro 10 minutes early. The restaurant was cozy, dimly lit with flickering candles on each table. It had a warm, inviting atmosphere, but as I waited, a strange sense of unease started to settle over me. Nick wasn't there yet, which wasn't a big deal, until I realized something. The waiter approached me. "Are you waiting for someone?" "Yes," I smiled. "A guy named Nick." The waiter's face twitched for just a second, something subtle, but noticeable. "Are you sure about that?" he said. I blinked. Yeah, why?" He hesitated, then shook his head. "Never mind. Can I get you something to drink while you wait?" I ordered a glass of wine, trying to ignore the weird interaction. Maybe this waiter was just trying to survive a long shift. 10 more minutes passed. I checked my phone. No messages. 15 minutes. I texted Nick. "Are you almost here?" No response. I debated leaving. I had been stood up before. It wasn't the end of the world, but something nagged at me. Nick didn't seem like the kind of guy to ghost someone. Another 5 minutes passed, and I was just about to give up when my phone lit up. A message. "Hey, it's Nick. I'm outside. Come meet me." Relieved, I sighed, grabbed my purse, and stepped out. The sidewalk was mostly empty, the street lights casting long, eerie shadows. I scanned the area, looking for Nick, but there was no one there. "Where are you?" I texted. No response. I glanced around, suddenly aware of how quiet the streets had become. The bistro's warm glow felt miles away now. I checked my messages again. Nothing. Then, another text came through. "Turn around." I felt my breath hitch as I slowly turned, but there was no one there. The street was empty. The only thing behind me was an old alley, dark and narrow, leading into the unknown. A chill ran down my spine. I turned back towards the restaurant, only to find the waiter standing at the door, watching me. His face was unreadable. "Are you okay?" he called. I hesitated. Something about his tone told me that he already knew the answer. "I don't know," I admitted. I think my date just ghosted me." The waiter exhaled sharply and nodded. "Come back inside." I didn't argue. As soon as I stepped in, he locked the door behind me. I frowned. "Why are you—" "He never existed," the waiter interrupted. His voice was quiet but firm. "Nick, he's not real. And whoever's texting you, they've done it before." My stomach dropped. I pulled out my phone, my fingers trembling as I scrolled back through my messages. I clicked on Nick's profile. It was gone, like he had never been there in the first place. The final message appeared on my screen. "You were smart to go inside." And then, just like that, the number vanished from my phone. The waiter gave me a knowing look. You're not the first girl to show up here for a date that never existed. I slept that night with the lights on. I deleted every dating app off my phone. And I never met anyone from a dating app again. It was a Friday night when I decided to step out of my comfort zone and give online dating another shot. After a few underwhelming conversations, I matched with someone named Ryan. His messages were witty, his pictures charming. He wasn't just good looking. He had a certain pull, the kind that made you want to lean in to hear more. We agreed to meet at a small cafe downtown. It was the kind of place that smelled of roasted coffee beans and faint desperation. When I arrived, I spotted him immediately. He looked just like his photos, only more intense. His eyes locked onto mine even before I reached the table. "Hey," he said, standing up. "You look even better in person." I smiled politely, but something about the way he said that sent a weird tingle down my spine. His voice was smooth, practiced, like he'd said the same thing to 100 women before me. We ordered drinks, made small talk. At first, everything seemed fine, but as the conversation progressed, I started to notice little things. The way he leaned in too close, how his fingers drummed against the table in impatient rhythm, and the way he barely blinked when I spoke, like he was memorizing every word. Then it came to personal questions. "So, you live alone?" he asked, his lips curving into something that was supposed to be a smile, but felt like a trap. I hesitated. "I have a roommate," I lied. His smile didn't waver. "Ah, roommates. Annoying, aren't they?" I laughed awkwardly, trying to steer the conversation elsewhere. But the questions kept coming. About my daily routine, where I'd like to go, and if I had any family in town. My gut twisted. It wasn't curiosity. It was data collection. I glanced at my phone, pretending I had somewhere to be. "I should probably get going," I said, forcing a yawn. Ryan's expression darkened for just a second, but then the charm was back. That too wide smile plastered across his face. "Of course, but let me walk you to your car." "I'm good," I said, quickly, standing up. His hand shot out, gripping my wrist just tight enough to make my pulse spike. "Come on," he murmured. "What kind of guy would I be if I let a lady like you walk alone at night?" I yanked my arm back. I said, "I'm good." His smile cracked, just for a moment, but then I saw it, the mask slipping, and what lay beneath was something cold, something empty. I turned on my heel and walked out, heart hammering. I didn't look back. I didn't stop until I reached my car and locked the doors. As I sat there catching my breath, my phone vibrated. A text from Ryan. "You're home now, right?" My stomach lurched. I never told him I was going straight home. Another message. "I think you left something behind. Should I bring it over?" I never took anything out of my bag the whole night. I hit the gas, trying to make it to my house before maybe this creep did. When I got home, I checked every lock twice, peered out the window. Nothing. Just an empty street. But sleep wouldn't come. I kept seeing his eyes. That too perfect smile. My phone sat on my nightstand, silent now. No more messages. Then, knock knock. The sound echoed through my apartment. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. Slowly, I crept to the peephole. My stomach twisted into 1,000 knots. The hallway was empty. When I opened the door, no one was there, but taped to my door was a note. I know you're home, and I'll see you again. That was the last time I ever tried online dating, because some dates never really end when the other person is a creep. It had been a while since I'd been on a date. I wasn't desperate, exactly, but I was getting tired of waiting for the right guy to magically appear in my life. So like countless others, I turned to dating apps. The endless swiping had become a nightly routine, and the carousel of faces that blurred together, none standing out, until I found Eric. Eric was perfect. Too perfect. His pictures showed a chiseled jawline, deep blue eyes, and an effortless confidence that made my stomach flutter. He was charming in our chats, quick-witted, attentive, and most importantly, he actually seemed interested in getting to know me beyond the surface-level attraction. When he suggested meeting for dinner at a cozy little restaurant just outside of town, I said yes without hesitation. I arrived at the restaurant 5 minutes early, my heart thumping with nervous excitement. The place was dimly lit, intimate, with flickering candles on every table. The kind of place that made you feel like the rest of the world didn't exist. Eric was already there, waiting for me, and in person, he was even more stunning than his pictures. He greeted me with a warm smile, his hand lingering on my lower back as he guided me to the table. Everything was going well, better than well. He was intelligent, funny, and knew exactly how to keep a conversation flowing. But as we talked, something started to feel off. Subtle things at first. He never blinked enough. His smile seemed too calculated, too perfect. And there was the way he kept steering the conversation towards personal details. Where I lived, what time I usually got home, if I lived alone. I brushed it off, telling myself I was being paranoid. Maybe I'd even been watching too many true crime documentaries. I excused myself to go to the bathroom, and when I got back, our drinks were sitting on the table. We did a cheers, and I drank my drink. I noticed that he was barely sipping on his, though. Instead of drinking it, he was watching me sip mine with eerie intensity. A slow unease crept into my stomach. My hands felt clammy, and my head felt heavy. Too heavy. I set my glass down, suddenly aware of how fast my pulse was beating. I think I should get some air, I said, pushing back from the table. Eric's hand shot out, firm but gentle, grabbing my hand. "Are you okay?" His voice was calm and soothing, but his eyes were studying me, observing. I yanked my hand away and stood. The room swayed. The candlelight blurred into shrieks. Something was wrong. I stumbled towards the exit, forcing myself to walk as steadily as I could. My vision was tunneling, but I kept going. I kept pushing through the nausea and the confusion. My car. I had to get to my car. I felt him behind me, not touching me, but close. Too close. I reached into my purse for my keys, but my fingers felt numb, useless. I fumbled, dropping them onto the pavement. As I crouched to grab them, I felt his breath on the back of my neck. Then everything went black. I woke up to darkness, but the suffocating, absolute kind. The kind that made you realize that you aren't where you're supposed to be. Panic surged through me as I tried to move, my arms restrained, my legs tied. Something was wrapping around my mouth, muffling my screams. Footsteps. Then his voice. Calm, patient. I was hoping you'd be different, Eric sighed. You almost made it out. But don't worry. I like a challenge. A light flickered on, blinding me. I squinted, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. I was in a small, windowless room. A basement, maybe. Tools lined the walls, neatly arranged, polished. Eric crouched beside me, tracing a finger along my jaw. I'm so glad you swiped right. I screamed, but the wall swallowed the sound whole. He hesitated, but something about the way he said that sent a weird tingle down my... Maybe I'd been watching too many true crime. I yanked my head. Not the comforting kind, but the suffocating.